I can actually move the shelf out, access speaker cables and everything behind, and not move my mic placement, and still nothing on the floor here. Okay, recently I put out a video, or a month or so ago, on some studio setup hacks that kind of went over some different ideas that you can use in your studio workflow. Today I want to take a look at something very specific that can also help with this, but it honestly isn't that sexy of a topic. However, I will say that this specific, it's not even a product, it's like a system of products, is the coolest version of it. Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about the Pres Ouboard Advanced Stand Systems. That's actually a mouthful. So why is it called Advanced Stand System? Well, it's because it's not like run-of-the-mill find a short stand or a tall stand. This is an actual system of parts, kind of like Legos, that you can essentially design however you want. So I'm gonna show you a handful of different ways that I'm using this stand system here in my studio to do a bunch of different things. Some of these are standing on the floor, some of these are mounted to my desk, some of them have multiple things going off of them. It's honestly pretty cool, and it really has made the workflow in this room, as far as like just being able to record as fast as possible, a lot better. Everything uses the exact same universal quick clip, so you can interchange microphones super fast. Anyway, as we go through each little zone here, I will name the parts that we're using so that you can easily find what you're looking for, and therefore you can see what makes the most sense for you. Now this is another example of getting things off of the floor that's massively useful for me. Now it's kind of funny because for the session I just did, I wanted the mics to go down towards the floor, but check this out. I have this Pres Ouboard wall mount here, and it's literally just this little plate, same thing that we put up in the ceiling up there, but I can actually boom it down because it's modular. I just added another extension to it, and I could boom it all the way down below my waist. And this is kind of like a little technique of blocking the transients and just getting this stairwell and all the indirect sound here. It's awesome. Now let's go check out the garage plate. Okay, so down here in my garage, I keep an SM57. Now as you can see, I've got it on this stand here, which is kind of not ideal. I'm gonna mount this thing to the wall, and that way this is off the floor and nothing can bump it, make it a little bit cleaner. Just don't tell my landlord. So as you can see, it just has 2 screws here, and then I can just clip in anything I want to it. And I have the little 57 here that I use to basically take my garage and turn it into a chamber. I'll literally leave the garage door open, record drums, and get all of the room just bouncing around in here. It sounds awesome. But this plate is probably one of the cheapest things that you can get, and you could put microphones on the wall, boom out. Again, the universal adapter is awesome. This was probably one of my favorite parts of this system because I love recording guitar amps, and I hate short guitar mic stands. Somebody's gonna trip over them. Somebody's gonna knock them. It's gonna move the mic. It's the most annoying thing in the world. I had this idea to get these clamps. I thought, why can't you just clip it to the lip of the amp? Or in this case, like I even have it clipped to the shelf, which allows me, check this out. I'll move this mic over to my Princeton, right? And then I have my 121 here, plug in, right? I have my mic placement where I want it, but I need to get behind the amp. I clamped it to the shelf so I can actually move the shelf out, access speaker cables and everything behind, and not move my mic placement, and still nothing on the floor here. Getting stuff off the floor where people can't kick it and move it just allows that workflow to run a little bit smoother and faster every day. But also even like just doing like housekeeping, cleaning, vacuuming, you can get under, you don't have to move the stands. I mean, this is really like day-to-day practical time saving, which has been super awesome. And again, these are all expensive stands relative to like the cheapest stand you can get. But if you just piecemeal it and you get what you absolutely need, like a clamp like this, so you can just slowly start to build your system over time, it's gonna make a big difference. This is like another one of those full range ball head. This is the OM connector. So this one's really gonna be a heavier duty setup. I'm using it with the clamp here and pop it in. And you can see I literally can go all the way down, all the way back up. You can rotate this, basically get any range of motion. And it's just one little tighten here. You don't want to over tighten these. You don't need to. They're actually strong. And you can see this is the M2R ball head as well. So when I put it on the top here, I actually get even more range of motion. So this is going to be useful in, you know, obvious cases of vocals, shaker, percussion, acoustic guitar, anything that you're going to be able to record while you sit at the desk. Incredibly useful. Okay, so over here is our vocal zone, right? And this is kind of a similar setup as my sidecar table over there. This is gonna be a stronger clamp. I'm using a much heavier clamp here, and that is just basically gripping onto the lip of my console studio desk here. I'm using an IOL adapter to hold this boom arm here, which is, I think L is for large. So this is gonna be a longer range, bigger boom arm. That's, again, able to hold a lot of weight. This is a small space, and I want to be able to have an area where vocals can be set up all the time, and I don't have to worry about somebody walking through here and kicking a stand or something falling and getting knocked over. It's literally completely out of the way on the floor here. And I, again, because the utility of these quick clips, I can swap mics super easily. So that's the vocal mic setup. Okay, so up next, I have a really great stereo bar here, but what I wanna do is I wanna be able to have these be wider. What we're gonna do is we're gonna replace this stereo bar with another adapter from Triad Orbit that's basically gonna allow me to add in extensions. Quite an improvement, I would say. This is awesome because, one, I'm using a few different pieces here, but this allows me to get this wide spaced pair setup and then a mono mic on the center. It's essentially a Decatree setup over my drums, but without the boom extension coming out of the middle. It's actually in the center. So let me show you what these pieces are. This whole thing works because of this tiny little piece in here. It's literally just a small little adapter that screws onto the mic stand, and then it has a threading on the bottom, on the front, and on the left and the right, and the rear. So you could choose to mount a connector to any of those holes. So obviously I'm going left, right, and front in the center. Now this piece that allows you to do that is called the IO vector for stereo utility bars. Now it's literally just this center piece here in the middle, and then you can attach whatever you want. So if you didn't want these booms, you could just put your clip or your connector for your mics on there. Now I'm using these standard connectors that come with most of the parts that you buy, which is just your basically quick clip piece. Goes straight in there. But you can also get the ball head, which is the M2R. So this allows you to have full range, almost 360 for being able to go up, down, inside, outside, every possible different angle. And then I'm just using these little cable hiders here to kind of clean it up and make it look a little bit nicer. If you wanted to go with a setup like this on your overhead, I have two A1As, left and right, and then the IO vector here in the center. And that's it. Now over here, this is like the most ridiculous version of using all of these stands. This is like their shorter smaller footprint mic stand base. I have a big clamp here that has 2 microphones coming off of the clamp. And then I have the O2X again at the top, so I can have 2 stands or 2 extensions coming off for my tom mic. So this is technically the base, the O2X, the 2 extensions, and then the clamp. Now this clamp is a big one. I believe this is the biggest, most heavy duty. So if you're gonna be hanging expensive mics or a big heavy boom situation, you're gonna want a stronger clamp that has a really tight grip. This is the SSIOGC. GC is for grip clamp. So it is, I think, the largest grip clamp that they have. Obviously grip, meaning, you know, it's gripping onto something. In this case, I'm gripping onto another stand, but I'm also using this over on the vocals to grip onto my studio desk. So this is the IOGC grip clamp. Okay, so the next clamp I'm using over here on the Guitar World, which is gripping onto these cabinets. This is the IOC. This is about the size of the clamp, significantly smaller than the GC. So I'm using these IOCs for the Guitar World, and I'm also using it on my sidecar microphone to grip to the actual table that I have my computer monitor on. So remember, IOC is the smaller clamp, the IOGC is the grip clamp. It's larger, it's gonna be a little more expensive, and it's very heavy duty. Plus you can actually mount multiple mics, so that's the other difference to the GC versus the C. All right, the next piece are these extensions. So again, everything has the same universal mount. This is the larger extension. It's the IOA2A, which is just gonna give you a little more length on the boom. Now I'm using the A1As up here, and the A2As I have on my room mic setup over there. And occasionally I will use these for my video microphone when I'll boom it out over the shot so you can't see the microphone. The other main pieces that you're gonna want are going to be the different connectors that actually hold the microphones, which will either be the M2 adapters that I just showed you, or just the regular clips. And these are the regular ones, and these come with any of their pieces that you would buy. So this actually, you know, connects to your mic clip here, and then obviously that just going. It's essentially just like using whatever the mic clip is. It's gonna give you whatever range that clip has. Now, if you don't have existing Triad Orbit stands, but you wanna use some of these pieces, you can buy a pack of their quick clips, which basically take it from your stand's thread to their universal fit. So you can get a pack of, I believe, 8 of these, add them to your stands so that you can incorporate the Triad Orbit system into the stands you already have. But because of the modular nature of all of this, you can really get creative and pick and choose what you need versus what you don't need. And that's really what I love about the whole thing. So our wall mount is IOW wall, right? So that's up there. And now we can decide what we want to put into it. You get the quick clip built in, and then you can just attach any adapter you want. So I can put microphones up here. I can put video big giant lights up here. I can mount a camera to it. This thing will literally hold anything. It's awesome. It'll lock in like that. This is just, you know, what the video light mounts to. And again, the universal fit here. So we'll stick that right in this little hole, and it just clips in, super easy. And then we'll decide where we want to position this. Now I have complete and full flexibility of where I can put this light now, which is awesome. I can loosen my boom, bring in my height so it's a little more out of the way. I was never able to do that before with the other stand. Sick. So now we have a light stand here, and I have another arm that would like to put another light on. But again, I can also put microphones or anything you want on it. Pretty crazy. All right, check this out. Of all the different things that these stands can do, it's the universal sort of connections that, to me, are the most interesting. So this is actually one of their stands. As you can see, it has this same sort of XY dual thing here where I can connect 2 different adapters to it. Now this is one of the booms, again, like we added to the lights, where I can boom this out. And obviously, since they're universal, you can just keep extending these as much as possible. Now I have a microphone on here. It just locks right in, right? And if you notice, this is not a microphone. This is a video light, a very big, giant, intrusive video light that just has the exact same universal mount on here. So for people who are doing content or filming in studios, this is extremely useful to be able to just quickly throw a light up and just boom. Now I have light all the way across my desk and my console. I have my boom mic here, so when I go to film, I literally pick up this one stand, takes up just a little spot on the floor, and because of the way these mounts are, I can literally move this in any direction, boom it up here, and extend it out. I gotta tighten this first. Boom it up, extend it out, and it just locks right in, so I can come over here so you can see these shots that I film like this. I have light on me, and it's only taking up 1 mic stand space on the floor. So when you're in a home studio, you cherish that floor space. I can't even state how useful it is in the studio. Now, hopefully to make this as simple as possible, I created a list of all of the different parts that I'm using here in the different sections of my setup so that you can go through those parts and find them very easily. There's a link in the description. It's a Sweetwater affiliate link. It's a list that has all of the different extensions, clips, wall mounts, clamps, all the different stuff. And of course, this video is sponsored by friends at Sweetwater, the place where you can actually find all of this stuff as well as all the other gear here in my studio. I've gone through and tried to organize everything as well as I can down in the description. Sweetwater being obviously the best place to order your gear online, as well as get the best help from their sales engineers, and of course the best deals. So check out the links down below. Thank you, Sweetwater, for sponsoring this video. Hopefully this makes sense. It's a kind of complicated and esoteric system, but has been tremendously useful for me. And if it's something that looks like it would be useful for you, ask any questions you have down in the comments. Hit the like button, share this with a friend if you know someone else who could use some improvements with their stand setup. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.